Good evening. I'd like to bring the public meeting of the Board of School Directors to order March 18th. We'll begin, please, with a call to order. Mrs. Caldwell, a roll call, please.
Mr. Eckert?
Here.
Mrs. Floyd?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mrs. DeBattista? Here. Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Phelps?
Here.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Here.
Mr. Razzie?
Here.
Mrs. Hauger?
Here. Ms. Krajewski, may we have the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, please hear our prayer. Bless all schools, colleges, and especially the Interboro School District, and grant to this board in their deliberations this evening the spirit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. What is undertaken always be done in charity and in peace, and what we do might be for the benefit of others. All this we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll hear reports from our student representatives, Matt Cleaver and Abby Moroli.
At Glenona School on February 6th was Soup Day. Students were allowed to dress in their favorite jerseys if they brought in a can of soup. On February 27th, it was annual bingo night. Beautiful baskets were donated by teachers and local vendors. This was fun by all. We also collected for canines, Partners for Life. Students brought in items for dogs such as blankets, toys, and food. This was a success.
Students at the Kindergarten Academy collected food items to support the local Loaves and Fishes food pantry. The children are trying to reach 100 cans by February 11th. The Kindergarten Academy also participated in Operation Warm Coats, where parents were invited to pick up new coats for their children collected by the Kindergarten Academy. Coats continue to be available to those families in need. Call the school office if your child or younger sibling needs a coat sizes 4 to 8. Also, the Kindergarten Academy celebrated Read Across America during the week of March 2nd to 6th. Special literacy projects, guest readers, book club, and a book spot took place during the week.
At Norwood School, our second grader, Sydney Keene, was the winner of the Groundhog Day art contest. Norwood students were awarded 7 of 9 awards for the annual Americanism essay contest this year. Winners will be honored on March 19th at John Wesley Cross Post 507 at 6:30 p.m. Home and School held their annual Me and My Guy dance. Everyone had a wonderful time.
At Prospect Park School, a representative from the Franklin Mint Federal Credit Union visited our first grade class for a presentation on saving money and to invite our students to visit the Learning Center at the credit union in the spring. Also, the 8th grade visited the National Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C.
At Tinicum School on March 2nd, we celebrated Read Across America Day. After reading If You Give a Pig a Pancake to the students, Principal Fanning then kissed the pig. March 12th was Battle of the Barrel at the high school. Thank you to Mr. Schiff, Mr. Wood, Mr. Rainbow, and the entire PE staff at Interboro, as well as the parent volunteers for making this event possible. Also, on March 14th, the 8th grade students hosted an Applebee's pancake breakfast.
At the high school, results are in from this year's American Math Contest. Top scorers were Kelvin Liu in the first place, Jane Carna, second place, and Alex Cousin, third place. And in 10th grade, Joey Pitts, first place, Brian Barker, second place, and Caitlin Klotz, third place. The AMC is a measure of mathematical thinking on non-traditional questions involving topics such as number theory, probability and statistics, geometry, advanced algebra, and trigonometry. Many thanks to Mrs. Joins, Mr. Flynn, and the math department for putting together this opportunity for our students. The IHS High Q team finished their season with a home meet on February 11th, defeating Ridley but falling to Marple Newtown. The final score was Marple Newtown 52, Interboro 34, and Ridley 16. On February 28th, after weeks of planning, the freshman and sophomore class put on the Frosh Dance. The theme was Under the Sea and features scenes from Finding Nemo, SpongeBob, and The Little Mermaid. The kids all worked hard on decorations and had a great time at the dance. Physics Olympics has concluded for the school year, and even though the competition is exceedingly tough, Interboro is well represented in the win column. After 3 meets, we earned the following: gold and silver medals for bowling ball towers, first place in 2 rotation events, second place in 1 rotation event, third place in 3 major events and 1 minor event, and the team cup for the electric car. 44 total students participated this year, and all showed great sportsmanship and buck pride. That concludes our report.
Thank you, Abby and Matt. It's Abby Marola. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your last name. Mrs. Riley.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Holger. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Bob Kelly, the principal of Prospect Park School, as he makes introductions on the Prudential Spirit of Community Award that's being presented tonight to Hannah. Mayor.
Good evening. As a building principal, we are tasked with many responsibilities. Usually it involves curriculum and instruction, student safety, analyzing data, or managing the building. Sometimes it involves enjoying the work of our students and staffs and walking the halls observing all the good things that go into a great school. But on a rare occasion, we get the opportunity to recognize a special student for what goes on outside of the classroom, for the contributions they have made to their community and to the school. Hannah Mayer is a 7th grade student at Prospect Park School. Over the past few years, she has taken an active role in raising awareness of bullying and helping to organize community-wide efforts to not only stop bullying, but to support those who have been bullied. Tonight I am proud to introduce Mr. Jerome Fiordamundo, a representative of the Prudential Spirit of Community Award, an honor bestowed to those who have demonstrated passion, commitment, and spirit towards serving their community. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jerome Fiordamundo.
Hello. It's a great pleasure to be here tonight for a special presentation. My company, Prudential Financial, in partnership with the National Association of Secondary School Principals, sponsors a national award program to honor Americans who care about the world and find ways to make a difference. We do this because we believe that if we're going to meet the many challenges that we face today, we're all going to have to get more involved in our communities and to plan a better place to live. And our great hope lies in the young people like yourselves. All over the United States, middle level and high school students are volunteering to improve their communities and the communities of others. We hope that by identifying and honoring those volunteers, that we can hold them up as role models. Others will be inspired to do so also. Thousands of young people across the country were considered for the Prudential Spirit of Community Awards this year, and from these, a middle level and one middle level and one high school student in each state in the District of Columbia have been selected for special recognitions. Here in Pennsylvania, I'm delighted to report our top middle level honoree is your own Hannah Mayer. Hannah, would you come forward, please? Hannah's been singled out from all the middle level school students in Pennsylvania for an outstanding service to our community. Hannah has persuaded 4 Pennsylvania towns to adopt anti-bullying resolutions, initiated an annual community walks, and have drawn more than 700 participants over the past 2 years. Hannah, for your commitment with compassion and having the highest standards that we have in Prudential, I want to award you with something that's very rare. It's our Spirit Community Award. That's only one other person in the state got this. So this is for you. Congratulations. Now, Hannah, we're not done. Come here. In addition, just so you know, you're going to receive $1,000, and and you're also going to be put in for one of the 10 national awards. And I'd like to invite you and your family over to Washington, D.C. I don't know if you've gotten that invitation yet, but hopefully we'll have some real good things over there. Yeah, this is a real big deal.
Congratulations, Hannah, on behalf of the board and the community. We're quite proud of you. Mrs. Riley.
Yes, congratulations, Hannah. At this time, I would like to introduce the Audition Select Choir of the high school as they perform for us this evening, Weep No More, under the direction of Miss Hannah Knaus. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Krajewski, do we have anybody for public comments this evening?
Yes, Mrs. Hogger, two people. First up, Zerdy Doby.
Zerdy Doby, 200 Powhatan Avenue, Tinicum Township. Why only one song from them? It was very, very soothing. During the solicitor's report, if Solicitor Serini could give a update. Tinicum Township held their meeting this past Monday, and they mentioned the withdrawal of 2 real estate assessment appeals, one for the Econo Lodge and the other for the former Willows, and if you would give the impact on the Interboro School District. Last month at the meeting, you had an IESP, the support personnel contract. If you would give an update on that. You said that you had reached a tentative agreement last month, and if you would tell us how many meetings of you have had and describe just exactly where you are in the negotiations with that group and any other group that is currently under in bargaining.
For the assistants, the ball is in their court. They are going through the process of presenting it to their membership, and their membership has to vote on it. Once they vote on it, we will vote on it, and hopefully it'll go through.
And is that, what about is there any other group that?
Yes, the secretaries group we're still negotiating with the secretaries group. We have not reached any tentative agreement with them.
And in February, the Tinicum Township Board of Commissioners had an issue with regards to the Lazaretto. Now, brief history of this. In 2006, you had representatives from Tinicum Township come to the school board, and on motion number 17, I'm going to read a portion of that. The Board of School Directors approved the attached proposal with Tinicum Township regarding the Lazaretto property and waiving of the real estate taxes due on the property for fiscal year 2005-2006, and the district's use at no cost of the property for educational purposes in the future. Now, the only remaining board director is Mrs. Floyd, and the loss of revenue was over $25,000, which is a significant amount. But the reason I'm bringing it up to you is, have you had any notification from Tinicum Township about the proposed archaeological testing at the Lazaretto?
No, we have not.
And to my representative, Mr. Eckert, did you know about this? No. And so I just wanted to bring it to your attention, and so that maybe if there is any interest in any of the teachers or the students, it might be an interesting field trip to attend. This is going to be during the spring, and I'll give you a copy of this after the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a good suggestion.
And finally, there have been a number of articles and programs on what's called the Common Core. And I have had a number of meetings about this with Dr. Ekman giving presentations. And those governors or those states which were in the process of implementing this have now reversed course. And there was a program that talked about New Jersey, and that some parents, I guess whether it's the parents or the educators, have refused to engage in the testing process. So my question to the Superintendent Riley is, have you had any pushback from any parents in the district or any other school districts in the Delaware County that have indicated that they are not as pleased with this introduction of this kind of testing as others.
Mr. Doby, I have not had any parents contact me regarding the core, and we have discussions about this all the time at our superintendent's meeting, and a lot of it is focused around the testing component and how school districts are managing, to handle this within our curriculum. So there is constant talk about it, but I have not had any parents contact me regarding it.
Thank you.
One more thing, Mr. Doby, for the O'Connell Lodge project or reassessment that you asked about, on recommendation of our attorney that handles our assessments, and also the gentleman that does the, what does he do? Appraisals, I'm sorry. It was recommended to the board that we not appeal that because it was a combination of those three properties. And it was the best interest of the board not to do it, and that's what we decided to do.
Chaz Willis? You didn't want to speak tonight? Okay. That's it then.
Thank you. Can we move on then to motion 5.1, please?
Motion that the following minutes of the regular meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors held on February 18, 2015 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from school board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Mrs. Serini, the solicitor's report, please.
Good evening, Mrs. Hogger. This past month, our office has continued to assist the district in policy review, consultation on custody issues, interpretation of the Sunshine Act, and special education consultation.
Thank you. Shall we move on to motion 7.1, please?
Motion that the attached treasurer's report for the month ending February 28, 2015 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 7.2, please.
Motion that fund disbursements in the amount of $4,410,940.90 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 7.3, please.
Motion that the attached budget transfers for the fiscal year 2014-2015 be approved.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Any correspondence, Mrs. Krajewski?
No, Mrs. Hogger.
Thank you. We'll move on to committee reports. I'll give the Finance Committee report, even though I was not present. We are continuing to look at the budget. We still have some moving parts, as we always do at this time of the year. Our cap, we will not raise taxes more than 2.6. The board is working very hard to bring that number down. So we have a few unknown figures. So we are still working on it. We are fairly certain that we're going to move forward with the Prospect Park HVAC project, some site development, and secure entrances to our buildings in our plan, our overall plan, to update our buildings that sorely need some updating, especially in the HVAC systems. So I thank the board and, Mr. High School for all of the work, Mrs. Riley, in working and plowing through this budget. And that concludes my report. Mr. Eckert.
Thank you, Mrs. Auger. The GBO committee met immediately after the Finance Committee. It was a very short agenda. There was an issue with our fiber optic lines here in the district. We talked about upgrading those lines, and we're going to move forward with that project. We also had more of a discussion because we piggybacked on top of the Finance Committee with the projects that Mrs. Holger just mentioned, the Johnson Control Project to bring the mechanical aspects of the Prospect School up to better working conditions. The Kindergarten Academy upgrade, which includes parking, playgrounds, and a new bus loop to bring the kids in. This will also include an upgrade to the Prospect Park Playground right behind the Kindergarten Academy, and also secured entrances, which was just mentioned as well, on 4 of the 5 buildings. The next GBO will meet on April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eckert. Mrs. Floyd, the legislative update.
Yes, we met March 4th at the Delaware County Intermediate Unit at 7:30 in the morning, and we went over several items, one of which is that Governor Tom Wolf was introducing a package of bills that reflect various components of his 2015-16 state budget plan, including a comprehensive education bill that contains a 1-year moratorium on the acceptance of new school construction products in the Plan-Con system. It gets involved, but basically the language is imposing a limitation for the 2015-16 fiscal year on the Pennsylvania Department of Education's acceptance or approval of new school building construction or reconstruction project applications for reimbursement. Completed project applications received by PDE by July 1st, 2015 would not be affected. So PSBA is staying on top of this to make sure that this moratorium doesn't affect the districts throughout the state. And there was also the House passed the charter reform bill. The House of Representatives, the House Bill 530, a charter school reform measure that contains provisions similar to legislation that was considered by the General Assembly in the previous legislative session. No amendments were inserted into the bill, and it passed as originally introduced with a vote of 118 to 78. And PSBA acknowledges House Bill 530 as a first step toward charter reform and is encouraged with certain reforms in the bill that will provide transparency and clarity. The greater accountability measures need to be adopted and will be working with Senate staff as the bill moves to that chamber for consideration. Senate action, the Senate adopted purely public charities tax exempt status, Senate Resolution 28. Referred to the Senate Appropriations Committee, youth vaccinations. This would be Senate Resolution 27, and it directs the Advisory Committee on Public Health Law of the Joint State Government Commission to study the issue of youth vaccinations to determine whether any amendments should be made to state law, and the committee's recommendations would be due in 12 months. We have several things, as I mentioned the last time, that are going to be coming up. And one of them is, I'm sorry. All right, there's budget hearings following the governor's budget address, and the Senate and House Appropriation Committees will convene hearings on specific components of the proposal. March 16th, the House Appropriations Committee met with the Department of Education. March 23rd, the Senate and House Appropriation Committees will conduct separate hearings with the Public School Employees Retirement System. And March 30th, the Senate Appropriations Committee will meet with the Department of Education. And April 15th, the House Finance Committee postponed its meeting that was to be held on March 3rd to discuss priorities and issues of counties, municipalities, and school districts. It has been rescheduled for next month. And let's see, our next meeting. will be April. And at that meeting, we will be having our new Senator McGargle present, as well as our representative, I'm sorry, will be present to talk to us about issues that we have, proposals that they're making, and it should be a very informative meeting. And I'll report that next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd. Mr. Evans, Delaware County Community College.
Yes, there was no meeting of the Community College Liaison Committee in February. There is a meeting March 26th, and I'll have a report for next meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Evans. Mr. Harris, the Delaware County Intermediate Unit.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The Delaware County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors met on March 4th, 2015, approved an amendment contract with Quantrum, approved an agreement with National Council on Behavioral Health to conduct a 5-day train-the-trainer workshop, approved for 14 students and 13 adults from the life skills class at Pennington to go on a field trip to Adventure Aquarium, approved 2015-2016 Intermediate Unit General Operational Budget, approved the 2015-16 Special Education Budget, approved 12 students and 12 adults from autistic support classes at Marple Educational Center to go on the Adventure Aquarium trip, and also approved the 2015-16 Delaware County Technical School budget. For more information, you can go to www.dciu.org to find out all the latest information. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Harris. Can we move on to motion? I'm sorry.
Mrs. Holger?
Yes.
Yeah, I was looking for a paper that got shuffled in between my others. There was 2 other things that I wanted to mention in my report, if it's okay.
Oh, certainly.
Okay, I just wanted to mention, the representative was Santora, that's going to be at the April 8th Legislative Council meeting. And the other thing is, our group is continuing to work on plans for a regional public meeting on school funding and the Keystone exams for Wednesday, April 29th in the evening at Springfield School District. So if everybody could save that date, this is for the public as well as board members, but especially the public, to be able to get some of the details on both those topics. Then there's also going to be PSBA Advocacy Day, which this year it's going to be April 19th and the 20th. And there's a lot of good speakers that are going to be at this conference. And it's going to be held in Mechanicsburg. So, and then after, on the 20th, a group of us will be going to talk to the various legislators so that we can get some of our points across to them. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can we move on then to motion 10, please, Mrs. Krajewski?
Motion that the following personnel items be approved as listed, beginning on page 2, ending on page 4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 11, please.
Motion, pardon me. Motion that the following items from the Office of Curriculum and Instruction be approved as listed on page 4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 12, please, Mrs. Krajewski.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Special Education and Pupil Services be approved as listed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Motion 13, please.
Motion that the following items as listed be approved from the Office of Facilities.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9.0. Motion 14.1, please. 14.
Motion that the following items from the Office of Finance be approved as listed.
Second.
That's for motion 14.1. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9.0. Motion 15, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the general operating budget of the Delaware County Intermediate Unit for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2016, in the amount of $8,246,226. Interboro School District share is $37,101.87.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments on motion 15? Hearing none, we need a roll call vote. Mrs. Caldwell, please.
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzie?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes. Motion passes 9-0. Motion 16, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the general operating budget of the Delaware County Area Vocational Technical School for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2016, in the amount of $12,286,905.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from board members on motion 16? Hearing none, may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzie?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. Motion 17, please, Mr. Krajewski.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the Delaware County Intermediate Unit Special Education Funding and Service Agreement for 2015-2016.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, we're going to be on the safe side and have another roll call vote on motion 17. Mrs. Caldwell, please.
Mr. Eckert?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski?
Yes.
Mr. Razzie? Yes. Mrs. Hager?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. Motion 18, please.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the second readings of the following policies in the categories of programs and pupils as listed beginning on page 5, ending on page 6.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9.0. We're moving to old business. Is there any old business before the board? We'll move on to new business and Mrs. Riley.
Thank you, Mrs. Hogger. I would again like to congratulate Hannah on winning this very prestigious award. I know that she will represent us well when she attends the award ceremony gala in Washington, D.C. It's very exciting, so
wins the
congratulations.
national.
What was that? And wins the
And
national?
wins the
Absolutely. Also, spring break is coming up the week of March 30th. I hope our students enjoy their time off and get plenty of rest as we gear up for PSSA testing the week of April 13th. And I would like to thank the high school art department for the beautiful artwork that is in front of the stage this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Riley. Any board members would like to
Yeah.
speak?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes. There's several events that went on throughout the district, as was reported by the students. And I personally went to the dodgeball tournament, which Murray Shift was fantastic in coordinating that whole concept. And the teachers, the students, the teachers, the administrators, they all did a fantastic job of pulling together. I have to say, congratulations, Prospect Park. They were the champs this year. The frosh dance went very well. The kids were very well behaved and dressed appropriately, and I commend everybody that was involved in that. Me and my guy, Norwood Herman School, sponsored that. It's really a delight to see the special guy that the girls bring, whether it be their father, uncle, neighbor, grandfather. It's just really nice to see that happen, and it was a success. Prospect Park had their family bingo night, and I'm to understand they did very well. The Spring Music Festival, which was the jazz band from the middle school and the high school this past Tuesday. We have such great talent, and I wish more and more people would come out and see. Just, you heard it tonight, the choir, the musicians, they're fantastic. We have a lot of good talent here. And Hannah, great job. You make me proud, and as well as everybody else here. And I just hope that you could continue and that it spreads, and this bullying at some point in time will be discontinued. Thank you for your efforts. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd. Any other board member?
Yes, comment?
Mr. Evans?
Just to echo some of Mrs. Floyd's sentiments, and to again congratulate Hannah Mayer and all her hard work in Prospect Park. It's a shining example of volunteerism. I'm sure she wasn't planning on getting an award. She didn't do it for an award. She did it because it was the right and good thing to do. And it dovetails right into volunteerism being a cornerstone of our community and democracy. As Phyllis said, there were several events throughout the district these past few days, and just to recognize some, wrestling tournament, after prom fundraisers, jazz festival, lacrosse fundraiser and clinic, Friends of Interboro, dodgeball tournament, the choir. All these things are supported by some boosters, and they could all use some help. The band booster group is probably the biggest single group, but some of the smaller sports or lesser-known sports, lacrosse, wrestling, some of those volunteer groups are one person. So if you want to come out and help, think about some of those activities. They could all use some of your support. I also wanted to let Mr. Doby know Education Voters PA is a good spot to get more information on opt-out programs, Common Core, and Keystone exams, and some of the groundswell movements that are springing up across the country. I wanted to apologize for my telecommuting attendance last month. I thought I found a quiet spot in Florida, but as is the case with Disney, parades just pop up. So I apologize, and I appreciate everybody's patience, and I thank the technology group for and the board for allowing me to telecommute. And then, and that's it. Lastly, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Evans. Any other comments from board members?
Comment?
Mrs. DiBattista?
Yes, I wanted to thank the chorus for performing this evening. They were magnificent, and yes, Mr. Doby, very soothing. I would love to channel that in my office during the day. I also wanted to congratulate Hannah Mayer. I apologize for my gasping at your award, but I'm super excited for you. That is tremendous. I just want to say, you know, echo what Mr. Evans said as well. It takes a lot of courage to stand up and have your voice be heard and to stand up for something that you believe in. And I'm always super impressed when someone at your age can do that, because I know it took me a long time to find my voice. So I just wanted to commend you and thank you for your efforts. And just please continue to be a leader, continue to be a positive influence, and I have no doubt that you have a bright and beautiful future. So thank you for your efforts. I also, there are a lot of volunteer efforts going on, but I just wanted to briefly touch on a group called Friends of Interboro, if you haven't heard about it. There are two alum that just kind of got together, two sisters that graduated from Interboro, and thought, what could we do to give back to the community? Most of it is just their own personal money, their family money. They hit up their cousins and relatives, and they give back where they can, whether it's a family in need, whether the kindergarten academy needs welcome back packets or gift cards for their iPads, or for scholarships. They give back wherever they can. So please, if you can, just Google them, look up their website, their Facebook page, check them out, see what they're doing and all that they're doing in the community. They're doing great things. And if there's anyone out there that's looking to support, whether it be through some volunteer work or through some financial support, it doesn't take a lot. You know, they're definitely looking for it to grow and to do bigger and better things in the community. So we're looking forward to what they have coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. DiBattista. Any other board members?
Mrs. Auger,
Yes.
I'd too like to chime in and congratulate Hannah on her award and wish her the best of luck in Washington. It is a very worthy cause in which you have dedicated your time to, and keep up the good work. Very nice job by the choir. Again, it showcases the talent that Interboro students possess. They did a very fine job this evening. Lastly, hopefully winter is completely behind us. I would like to thank the maintenance personnel, the janitors, and also the bus drivers for keeping the walkways clear, cleaning off the buses, and making sure that the entranceways and the buildings are clear for the kids as they enter school. Thank you again for your effort.
Any other comments? Hearing none. On Monday, April 6, 2015, a Finance Committee meeting with the GBO meeting immediately following will be held at 6:00 p.m. in the boardroom of the Administration Building. The next work session of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the Administration Building on Monday, April 13, 2015, at 6:30 p.m. And the next regular monthly meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the multi-purpose room of the Kindergarten Academy. We're vacating the auditorium, I believe, for the play. So that would be next month, Wednesday, April 15th at 7:00 p.m. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.